How many people from the house of Jacob left Canaan and came into Egypt? Again, this seems like another cut and dry question. Just go to the book of Genesis and it should give us our answer. The answer is 70, right? Well, when we continue reading all the way the rest of the Bible to Acts chapter 7, the great chapter where Stephen is about to get stoned and he gives this amazing speech, right? Now, within that speech, there's some problems because he doesn't say 70. He actually says 75. So is this a contradiction? Because of this, do we then throw out the New Testament? Well, I don't think so. I think we should take a deeper look and ask the question of how many of the house of Jacob came to Egypt. Now, when we look at Genesis 46:27, it says, And the sons of Joseph who were born to him in Egypt were two. All of the people of the house of Jacob who came into Egypt were 70. And in Acts 7:14, it says, Then Joseph sent word and invited his father Jacob and all his relatives to come to him, 75 people in all. Now, the Torah says that 70 people went down to Egypt with Jacob. Quote, all of the persons of the house of Jacob who came to Egypt were 70. Genesis 46:27. Now, this raises a few questions, right? So the previous verse states that there were 66, but then verse 27 adds Joseph's two sons, who were born in Egypt, and declares the total number to be 70. This is a problem. 66 plus 2 does not equal 70. Now, perhaps the Torah assumes that we should add Joseph, who was already living in Egypt, but the problem is the number of sons credited to Leah. Genesis 46:15 says that Leah's sons and grandsons numbered 33, including her daughter Dinah. However, Judah's sons and Onan were already dead. The absence of and Onan leaves us one short. If you count up the names including Dinah, but excluding and Onan, you will arrive at 32 names. Now, added to the others, this leaves the final reckoning of 70 entering Egypt, one short as well. What's the solution? Some opinions include Jacob himself in the number, but this cannot be. Jacob does not qualify as a son or daughter of Leah. One option is that the divine presence of God is the missing number. But again, the presence of God could hardly be reckoned a son or daughter to Leah. Now, Rashi comes to the rescue with a solution from Jewish tradition. He claims that Levi's wife was pregnant and gave birth to a daughter as she entered Egypt. And this is what he says. These are the sons of Leah, and all his sons and his daughters numbered 33, Genesis 46:15. But when they are counted, you find only 32. The one missing is Yocheved, who was born in the gates upon their entering to the city. As it says in Numbers 26:59, Yocheved, the daughter of Levi, was born to Levi in Egypt. She was born in Egypt, not conceived in Egypt. And this is again from Rashi's commentary on Genesis 46:15. Now, Yocheved is the mother of Moses. Her birth accounts for all 70 who entered Egypt. But wait, there's still another problem. In the book of Acts, the apostle Stephen makes a famous speech before the Sanhedrin. He defends himself from the false accusations lodged against him by conducting an on-the-spot Bible study. As he retells the story of Jacob entering Egypt, he says the number of his family was 75. Then Joseph sent word and invited Jacob, his father, and all his relatives to come to him, 75 persons in all. Acts 7:14. Now, after all the work we just did come up with 70, where does this number come from? Who are these extra 5? The answer is in the Greek. Stephen was a Greek-speaking Hellenistic Jew. He attended a Greek-speaking synagogue in Jerusalem. He knew the Torah only in the Greek version, which is called the Septuagint. By the way, Septuagint means 70. The Septuagint Greek version of Genesis 46:27 reads differently from the Hebrew. Now, according to the Greek version, Joseph had 9 children. Now, let's compare the two versions together. In the Septuagint, it says, And the sons of Joseph, who were born to him in the land of Egypt, were 9 souls. All the souls of the house of Jacob who came with Joseph in Egypt were 75 souls. Now, the Masoretic text says this, and the sons of Joseph were born to him in Egypt were two. All the persons of the house of Jacob who came into Egypt were 70. The sons of Joseph born to him in Egypt may include his daughters. The word sons is often used in a gender neutral sense for the children. The Hebrew tells us only about the two sons of Joseph, but he also had 7 daughters. If we add Joseph's 9 children to the 66 children from Genesis 46:26, we arrive at the 75. Counting Joseph, not counting Dinah, requires counting and Onan in Leah's 33, Genesis 46:15, but not in the final count of those 75 entering. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Stephen got that number. Now, this is not a contradiction. This is an understanding of how the Greek culture counted their children versus the Hebraic. It's still the same family that goes in. It's just, do we count the daughters? In Greek, we do. In the Hebrew, we don't. So I hope that makes a lot more sense to you guys. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'm hoping you're enjoying this. Shalom.